Hello again. Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. I hope you're doing well. I'm all right. Yep. If you're new to the channel and you could subscribe, that'd be a massive help to me. Or you could like the video, or you could hate the video, or you could, I don't know. I appreciate your time. That's all that matters. But if you could subscribe, cheers. Well, I'm coming to you today as a chastised Joe Stunner. Yes, I am. I'm chastised. Do you know why I'm chastised? Because a few days ago, I did a little sort of random thoughts about 2021 in the world of boxing. And a few of my female friends who are also boxing fans said, yes, you, look at my finger. Wag, wag, wag the finger. I got a good finger wagging. Why was this? They said, because you didn't mention any female fighters, you daft twat. You should have done, because it was a brilliant, brilliant year for women's boxing. Loads of great fights. Loads of really good, really good female fighters making progress. And you know what? They're right. It was a brilliant year for women's boxing. And I should have mentioned some female fighters. And I should have mentioned some female fights. So I'm going to rectify this. This video is going to be about the women's game. So I'm going to go for a few fighters who you may not be familiar with. The women's game is still growing. I'm just a boxing fan. I don't care whether they're male, female, low level, highest level. I don't really give a shit. By the way, non-alcoholic. Good, eh? I don't drink anyway. Like I've said before, I work for a drug and alcohol service. I've never drunk anyway. I've never been a drinker. Never taken drugs. I'm a boring so-and-so really, but surprisingly healthy for it. Anyway, what was I saying? Women's boxing. Yeah, I'm a big supporter of women's boxing. There's lots of good female fighters. It's a young sport, women's boxing. Young in the sense that it's become established. It's growing. Yeah, we had the pioneers. Lucia Rijker, Anne Wolf, Layla Ali, Christy Martin. They would be the equivalent of the pioneers from maybe the 1880s in the men's game. But now we're up to the point where we're probably in the 1920s, 1930s, where the men were. But it is growing. So I'm going to mention some female fighters who I think, if you're not familiar with them, check them out because they're very, very good. Let's start with a few obvious names. Well, actually, I'll start with the female fighter I think is the best in the world, pound for pound. And that's Savannah Marshall. Now, Savannah Marshall, I think, where's she from? Hartlepool, I think, in the northeast of England. She fought twice in 2021, once against Maria Lindberg, who was a late replacement. She knocked her out in 3 rounds. And then she fought the undefeated 16-0 Lolita Muzeza. I can't remember where Lolita was from. I think it was one of the African nations, but I can't remember where. And she knocked her out in 2 rounds. And if you saw that fight, Lolita came out big time. She was trying to take Savannah's head off, blew herself out totally, and in the second round was just out of gas. And Savannah turned up the heat and stopped her in 2 rounds. But Savannah is a very big, powerful woman, middleweight. She looks big for the weight. She looks powerful. She boxes very well. At the risk of sounding slightly chauvinistic, I'd say she boxes like a man. She's got that perfect blend between the fighter and the well-schooled professional boxer. No hint of a sort of white-collar fighter. No hint of amateurishness now. She really looks like a good pro, and I think the power combined with the technique, that box fighter style mixed in with clearly a very high IQ, ring IQ, I think she's really exceptionally good. She's due to fight, or is not due to fight, but is supposedly going to fight in 2021 against Claressa Shields. Claressa Shields fought only once last year, and this was against, I think it was an undefeated girl, Marie-Eve Dicaire. Marie-Eve Dicaire. I think Maria was 17-0. Clarissa's still only 11-0 in fights. Can you believe that? She seems to have been around forever. She's got like 100 belts. But she's supposedly going to fight Savannah. You know what, allowing lockdowns and all that crap allowing. But I see Savannah knocking out Shields. I say knocking out. If it was 12 3-minute rounds, yes, but it's 10-2s for the women's game. So I don't know. Maybe Savannah would need more time to get her work done. But I see her beating Shields quite convincingly, either way, points or stoppage. I'm going to go for stoppage. So those two big names. The other big name, big female name, is Katie Taylor, who fought, was it 3 times last year? Early on, she fought Natasha Jonas in... Actually, it wasn't that early on. I think it was May. She fought Natasha Jonas, a rematch of their amateur bout. Looked, it was a good fight. Always a good fight with Katie, in the sense that she likes a scrap. Outpointed Jonas, but it was quite close. 96-95, I think, on 2 of the cards. 96-94 on the 3rd. And Jonas gave a very, very good account of herself. Jonas is a good fighter. Another English fighter. She said afterwards, I'm always going to be the bridesmaid and never the bride, which might prove to be the case. Maybe she's going to be a female Errol Graham or whatever. But Katie marched on, beat Jennifer Han a few months later, I think in September, and then recently in December she fought Firuza Sharapova of the Ukraine and defeated her on points. All 3 of those fights in 2021 were on points. Now, with Katie Taylor, I have great respect for Katie Taylor and what she's achieved for the women's game. But there's just something about her that I don't find overly entertaining. She has been in some good scraps. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe she just likes to scrap too much. And also, there's a shadow for me hanging over. It sounds like I'm slagging the woman off, and I'm honest to God not. But those two fights she had with Delphine Persoon, I definitely thought she lost the first one, and the second one was a toss-up. I thought maybe Katie edged that one, but she's, for what she's done for the women's game is considerable. I kind of admire her more than I like watching her, if you know what I mean. And I wonder if she's on the downside of her career and she's there for the taking in 2022. But it will take a very, very good female fighter to beat Katie. And I didn't want to come across like I don't like her. I do. She's a nice girl and everything, but I just sort of admire her more than I love her, if you know what I mean. Anyway, moving on. Who else have we got? Well, we got Chantelle Cameron. Let's mention her because she is, I think, I've always thought she's good, but she really seems to be in her prime now. After a performance against Mary McGee, that was a couple of months ago, there's a 140-pound unification going on, and there was a sort of couple of semi-finals. One was between Chantelle Cameron and Mary McGee. McGee came in, a very tough American lady, a lot of self-belief, great fight, really good, entertaining fight. McGee, her defence let her down badly. Cameron couldn't miss with the right hand, but McGee's chin, nothing wrong with that chin. McGee was trying to put the pressure, trying to cut off the ring, but Cameron held her own very, very well. Very, very impressed with Cameron. And she won a deserved decision. Now, let me see if I can remember the other semi-final. Who was that between? I'm going to have to look this one up just a second. I'm going to look this one up. Who was it between the other semi-final? Was it Jessica? No, it wasn't Jessica McCaskill. Right. The other semi-final was between, Callie Reese and Jessica Kamara. Yeah, another great fight. I'd forgotten about this one. Just the great pause may have told you. I had to look this one up. Right. Callie Reese beat Jessica Kamara on a close verdict. And this was another terrific fight. And Kamara gave Reese all she could handle. Reese was the favourite going in. But Kamara looked very, 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 very unlucky. Really not to do more damage than perhaps you thought she would have done. Right at the end, Reese came into her own and battered Kamara. And Kamara just about hung on. But apart from that last round, she made every round competitive and won more than a few. So, I don't know, really. I between Callie Reese and Chantelle Cameron, I would definitely feel that Cameron has the edge here. Even though Reese showed a lot of ability, Reese has fought everyone, by the way. If you look at her record, I mean, she's got defeats on her record, but my God, she's like the Derek Chisora of women's boxing. She's fought everyone and some very, very good results. Up in weights as well. Very good fighter. So I would favour Chantelle Cameron against Reese, but I think Jessica Kamara can come again. I think she kind of, her stock rose in defeat, as is often the case with a lot of fighters. One of the breakout stars in women's boxing was Alicia Baumgartner, who stopped, or knocked out, you should say, Terry Harper on her feet in England only a couple of months ago, and has since been signed up by DAZN. Eddie Hearn was obviously taken with her. I think Terry's going to move up in weight now. Terry Harper deserves a sort of credit for being so brave she was almost stupid, because she took on Baumgartner after having had an operation. Was it on her arm? Was it a bicep operation or something? Shoulder operation maybe? And she'd been out for ages, and she took on Baumgartner, and it kind of showed. And if she was struggling at the weight, there was a rematch clause for that fight, and Baumgartner, she's too hot to handle at that weight anyway. So Terry's going to move up. Baumgartner's signed to DAZN. I did a video where I was saying, you know, why don't these quote-unquote foreign fighters who come in from abroad and then upset the apple cart, why don't they get signed by the promoters? Because their stock's risen, so the promoters might as well grab them. And I was bemoaning the fact that a lot of promoters don't do that. Well, fair play to Eddie Hearn. He's done this with Alicia Baumgartner, giving her a big platform now on DAZN to show her wares, and I think she's going to go places, that lady. So Alicia Baumgartner, respect to you. Jessica McCaskill defended her undisputed titles against Candy Wyatt of Canada. Wyatt was insanely brave, but completely outpunched and outboxed by McCaskill, who is, I think she's going after Taylor for a rematch. Taylor outpointed her, but that's a good fighter right there. And Candy Wyatt, to come in at short notice and to give such a good account of herself. So, brave lady. A lot of these ladies are so brave. They take punches in bunches, and it's frightening how much punishment they take. So yeah, she's on a roll at the height of her powers, in her prime. And McCaskill, you'll see more of her in 2022, I'm quite sure. Honourable mention to Hannah Rankin, Scotland's Hannah Rankin, who won the WBA and IBO middleweight titles against the old, but still very gay, Maria Lindberg. Lindberg was seen, and this was light middleweight, excuse me, not middleweight, or super welterweight if you prefer. Maria was seen at middleweight, getting knocked out in 3 as a very, very late replacement, knocked out in 3 rounds by Savannah Marshall. She came back, I think she's 45, from Sweden. One last roll of the dice against Hannah Rankin. Hannah outpointed her in a tough fight. Hannah won it quite clearly, but she had to work for it. So Hannah's the new WBA and IBO super welterweight stroke light middleweight champ. Well done, Hannah. Another world title for Britain, Scotland. But there's one other. Let me mention one you might have forgotten, because these were quite a lot of these that I've mentioned were quite highly promoted fights. But I want to mention a lady who's on an undercard, and that is Jamie Mitchell, the Miracle Mitchell, because I like this lady a lot, and as far as I know, she's not been signed up to anyone. She came over and she beat up Shannon Courtney, and Courtney was a champ of sorts. She held a world belt anyway. She lost the belt on the scales, 2 pounds over, got off the scales and immediately started guzzling an energy drink. Blamed it on her menstrual cycle, the increase in weight. I've not spoken to any female boxer, either in person or online, who says that that's an excuse. So I don't know. I'm not a female. I don't identify as a female, so I've no idea what periods are like, and I've no desire to know. But they're like, no. We're not having that. That's not a valid excuse. You know your cycle. You're a professional athlete. You should have made the weight. Okay, I'll go with that. But anyway, that wasn't Jamie Mitchell's fault. She came over here, beat up Courtney. There was only one round where Courtney really put it on her, and Jamie looked like she might unravel, but she came back well and finished the fight and won a clear decision. So big up Jamie the Miracle Mitchell, lady with an incredible backstory as well. A lot of respect for Jamie Mitchell. Right, I've saved my favourite, if you like, till last, which is, I think, women's fight of the year. Don't know if she's the fighter of the year, but these two ladies I'm about to mention provided the fight of the year, and that was Mikaela Mayer against Maeva Hamadouche. And this was for the WBO and IBF super featherweight titles. And if you haven't seen it, dig it out on YouTube or whatever, Daily Motion, some link somewhere. You'll find some link somewhere, because it's an incredible fight. Hamadouche, from France, I think she's promoted by, is she promoted by Eddie Hearn and DAZN? I'm not sure about that. I think she is, because Hearn was ringside. But Hamadouche came to America, and my God, you've never seen anyone throw so many punches and with such abandon. And there was, unlike the more refined, Savannah Marshall and Chantel Camerons of the world, this lady just had one thing on her mind, and that is, I'm going to rail you. I'm going to flail away, and I'm going to hit whatever I can hit. I'm going to hit. Doesn't matter what it is. Could be your kneecaps. Could be, I don't know, anything. Your biceps, your forearms. I don't care. Your gloves. She put it on Mikaela Mayer. And Mikaela Mayer, who is a very well-schooled fighter, a very good fighter, she had all she could handle, but did win a decision. She did win a decision. So, but if you haven't seen that fight, watch it. It's a great women's fight, as are a lot of these that I'm mentioning. So yeah. Can't think, who have I missed out? Anyone? I mean, you got some other, ones that are coming up. What's her name? That little crazy firecracker promoted by Dave Allen. What the bloody hell's her name? Ellie something? I've forgotten her bloody name now. She's a bit loony, but she's good fun. Can't remember her bloody name. That's going to annoy me now. I'll put it in the comments. There's her coming up. There's Ellie Scotney, the other Ellie Scotney. Yeah, we've got some good young female fighters. Of course, the Olympics. I've got some couple of Olympians turning pro. Young lady from Wales. Again, I've forgotten her name. I'm getting old. It's senile dementia. It's early. The early onset of senile dementia. Lauren Price was the Welsh girl. She's very good. She's going to turn pro, if she hasn't already, or she hasn't signed already. She hasn't had any pro fights. But Stevie Levy is Dave Allen's young fighter. She's a good laugh. Don't know how much ability she's got, but she's a good laugh. Anyway, look, I'm rambling. Check out some of these ladies. They are genuine, bona fide fighters. If you're still resistant to female boxing, I don't know why you would be, but keep an open mind, watch some of this stuff. It's good. If you like boxing, this is good stuff. Sometimes the level ain't as high as the men's. That's inevitable. It's a new sport. It's growing. Give it time, There's entertainment to be had at all levels, And this is entertaining stuff. So have a look. And thank you for listening to this. Oh my God, it's only a 20-minute video. Time flies when you're rambling. What can I say? But thank you so much for all your time. Thanks for listening. Hit the subscribe button if you could. Hit the like button if you're feeling really generous. and I will see you again. You have fun now and take care of yourselves always.